You won't miss anything. I stream on a Monday, a Tuesday and a Wednesday, and I will only ever work on this while I'm streaming, because the other days of the week I've got to do stuff with the studio, so I generally won't even have a chance to work on this building outside of my streaming hours. So don't think that you're going to miss anything because I'm going to do it all stream. I'm going to be recreating it all on stream, on Twitch. That's what we're doing. That's what we're remaking in the new engine. And we're just finishing up this door handle here for the Art Deco doors on the side. That should be good. I'm going to save this this model here. Door handle. Save our project file, so if we have to come back to it we can. Let's export our textures. Make sure we export to the correct folder. UE4 projects, models, Deco building, exports, side door. Okay, export our file. Alright, let's jump back into Max really quickly. Let's go out of isolation mode. Reselect that door and go back into isolation mode. Again, I'm just going to load up that texture that we just exported from Substance Painter, so a standard and a bitmap. Back into our exports folder. Now the material won't look quite right in Max because it's not going to be using the occlusion, roughness or metallic maps, so it'll only look right when we get it into Unreal. Side door and door handle, that's the one we want. It's just going to look black because it's mainly a reflective map, so we'll assign it anyway so it's ready to go when we export the entire model. But it is going to show up black in Max. Pretty much black. You can see the dirt map on it, but that's about it. Alright. I'm going to do an unwrap on this. I'm not changing my unwrap at all. It's keeping the same UVW map. But I've done that so I can... actually, I was going to say I've done that so I can copy the unwrap to the other side of the door, but I think it's probably going to be easier if we just copy the actual assets. So, because we have one on either side here. So I'm going to hold down the shift key and drag a copy over. Make sure a copy, not an instance. We have to mirror it in the X. It's going to drag it into place over the old one. Select the old one and delete it. Alright, so we have our door here. Let's get this ready to export to Unreal. I'm not changing any of the other textures on this. The textures we're using are okay, so I'll keep those the same. We did do some retexturing on the door here, and we remade this model a few weeks ago on stream, if you remember. I liked the stained glass, but I didn't like the original door, so we changed out the door and we changed out the handle. Now, what we're going to do here, we don't want to export this as one object like that to bring it into Unreal, because we need to be able to open these doors. So what we're going to do is we're going to export the frame and the stained glass as one object, and we're going to export the door and the door handles as a separate object, and that way we'll be able to open it and close it in the Unreal Engine, in the game engine itself. So to start with, let's select a frame. Just before I do that, I'm going to save my Max file, because you never know with Max when it's going to crash. Alright, so we have our frame selected. I'm going to attach the stained glass side windows. So now that's all one object. I'm going to select the door. Now these are the sort of things you've got to think about when you're creating an asset that you're bringing into a game engine. If you're going to be making a game, I'm not making a game, but if you were making a game and you wanted to be able to destroy the glass, so you know, shoot through it, smash it up, you would not want to attach the glass panes to the door frame. You want to keep them separate. That way they'll break much more believably. Because if you're shooting a bullet through the glass, you don't want the glass to break and it to break out half of the wooden frame as well. So keep these sort of things in mind when you're making your assets or your props for your game engine. If you want breakable glass, as in these side panels, don't attach them to the frame, keep them separate. The same for this centerpiece here. If you want that to be smashable, don't attach it to the rest of the door. We'll attach it at this stage because I'm going to do a cinematic. I think I'm not making a game engine, so we'll do a cinematic. If at a later date we decide we do want to smash them and we've already attached them, it's no big deal to come back into Max here, detach the glass, and just re-export the model then. But for now, we will work on the door here. Now you see the door is actually a grouped object as well. I'm going to ungroup it. And I'm going to attach that center glass piece. And I'm also going to attach the two door handles. So I'm going to call this one side door. I'm going to call the frame side door frame. And that should be all we need, I think. So let's start by looking at the materials we're using here for the actual door frame. I'm going to open up my material editor, use my picker tool here and pick that texture. It's this one here, and I'm doing this so I can see the texture name. It's LED light door connected.jpg. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that into our folder. So if I go to where we're saving all of our files out for our UE4 project, models, Art Deco building. Again, I'm doing this to keep everything organized. Deco model. That's our door, LED light door connected.jpg. I'm going to copy that texture. I'm going to jump into our exports folder, if I can find it. Art Deco building. Here we are. I'm going to create a new folder called side door. We've actually already got our folder called side door. We'll call this front door because we're going to have to do that at some stage as well. It's a separate object. So we have our side door folder here. I'm going to paste that color texture in there. Now I'm going to open up Knald. Knald is K-N-A-L-D, and it's software I use to create normal maps and occlusion maps. If I'm not using Substance Painter, which creates those maps for you automatically, I use Knald to create my normal and my occlusion, usually from a texture, or I'll use Max's built-in rendering if I'm rendering from a high poly to a low poly. But if I'm just creating a normal map from a texture map, I generally use Knald. It's very good. So Sniper Echo knows, he actually purchased it. It's a great program. John says, what would look good with a dark green? What would look good with a dark green color? You want a contrasting color to dark green. Yellow always looks quite good with green. Again, you think about what makes up green as a color, what colors make up green, and they'll generally be good to use as a contrast color. So yellow with a green looks nice, blue with a green looks nice. A bluey purple can always look really nice with a green as well. Just depends on the context, what you're making with those two colours combined together. But yeah, blue or yellow always looks nice with green. We're going to load up the colour map for the door texture, so we're going to jump back into our exports folder. Side door. This one here. Now I haven't actually exported out my FBX file yet, so let's do that before we do anything else. So we have our door frame selected. I'm going to export selected. We're in our side door folder and we're going to be calling it side door frame. Okay. Again, before I do this, I'm actually going to do a reset export just to make sure that things are going to behave the way we expect in Unreal. I'm going to collapse that stack again. I'm also going to check the axes position here. And again, I'm going to go into my hierarchy tab, effect pivot only, and center it to the object. I'm also going to move the pivot down to the very base here. It'll make positioning the door frame in the Unreal Engine much easier. Going to jump into my viewports here and check my axis position. Okay, so we have our axis in the middle of the door, right towards the bottom, when we want to move it around in Unreal. Now we can export the model. The reset X form just makes sure that our model is orientated correctly. I'm going to call it side door frame. Okay. John says he's doing the chest of the demon. Oh, okay. The demon then maybe a yellow would look good contrasting against the green. A deep red can look nice as well. Yeah, a red or a yellow I'd probably go with. Would look good on that demon character. Okay, we've exported our door frame. We've made sure our axis is in the correct position there. Let's jump back into Gnarled. And let's load up that door frame we just exported. Just before I load it up though, remember the Z axis is different in Max as opposed to most other programs, so we have to make sure that we change our mesh axis to Y up in Gnarled. No problem, John. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you guys, so if you have any problems or anything you're not sure about, feel free to pop into chat and ask me. That's perfectly fine. We're going to load up that mesh we just exported from Max, side door frame, so we can see the model. This is another reason why I really like using Gnarled to do my normal maps. We can load up the model and see it as we make our adjustments to the normal map, and Gnarled's adjustments happen immediately. I have used programs like Bitmap to Material before, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that program, but it's a bit sluggish when you start changing your normal map values. Gnarled is not sluggish at all. It all happens immediately. So I prefer to use Gnarled to Bitmap to Material to create my normal maps from texture maps. So we have our 3D model here loaded up, so we can see what our normal map will look like actually on the object we're normal mapping. Let's change our path here to the correct folder before we do anything else. Exports, side door, select folder, and let's start playing with our normal map now. So we want to pull back on the extra large all the way to 0. Also for the large, but what we're going to do is that stair step that you guys have seen me do all the time. So we're going from extra large, large, medium fine, extra fine, and we use this stair stepping type thing until we get the look that we're looking for. And you can look in the viewport here as I move these to see the effect it's having on the model. Okay. Again, it's really handy feature to have in that FINNALE provides, so that you can see exactly what your normal map will look like on the model as you're doing it. And then you have your overall intensity as well. You want to avoid going too high on your intensity for your normal maps, otherwise you're going to find that your model looks like it's wrapped in plastic. You don't want it to look wrapped in plastic, you just want it to give it the fake height information. Now, it doesn't matter that we have a bit of a shine here because this is going to be painted wood, which will be shining. And we're going to be using an occlusion map as well to tone it down a bit, so that should be fine for what we need. We're going to update the integrator, and that will create our height map, our ambient occlusion map. So it makes a height map for us, a derivative map, an ambient occlusion map, which I'm going to pull up on just a little bit. Concavity and convexity maps as well. You can use the convexity map to do a metallic type map in Unreal if you need to. So we'll probably save out the convexity map, but we're not probably going to use it though. So we're going to be saving out our normal map, our ambient occlusion map, and we're going to save out the convexity map. And to do that, I'm going to go into my exports here, check which ones are being exported. I'm going to save out the height map, but I'm not going to be using it. The height map can be really useful to do parallax mapping in the Unreal Engine. So I always save it out just in case I need to come back and use it at some stage. But we're mainly concerned with the normal map and the ambient occlusion map for this model. So we're going to save out the height, the normal, the ambient occlusion, and we're also going to save out the convexity just in case we need it. So now that we have everything set, we can just go export. We can minimize null, jump back into max, select our door, and export that. Make sure we're in the right folder, and we are. We're calling this one side door. Again, just before I export this, I want to make sure I have my axes and everything correct. So again, I'm going to jump back into the utilities, going to do a reset XForm. I'm also going to affect my pivot, and for the pivot for this, I want it to be in the corner there because that's where the door will hinge along this edge. So I'm going to start by doing a center to object, jump into my front viewport, and move my axes over to that edge where the hinge would be for the door. It makes no difference really where on that hinge section is. It could be up here if I wanted it to be, but having it in the middle just makes it easier, more natural. You'd usually have a hinge at the top, a hinge at the bottom, and probably a hinge in the middle. So we have our axes set and ready to go. We're just going to collapse our stack. And now we can export the model. And we're just calling it side door. Okay. Alright. Now we don't have to redo the texture map because it's part of the original texture map here. If you look at our height, you can see the door was included there anyway. So we can use the same texture map. Let's jump into Unreal. I'm just going to move these textures. Just to organize myself a bit better again. I'm going to move the texture files into my texture folder. And I'm going to move the material, which is the ceiling light emissive. I'm just going to rename it so I know what it is. Ceiling light emissive. underscore mat for material. And we're going to move that one into our materials folder. Again, it just helps keep everything nice and organized, and the ceiling texture as well, we're going to move down to our texture folder. Okay, let's import that door frame that we were just working on. Side door. We're going to do the side door frame to begin with. That all looks good, so import. Just give Unreal a second here to compile its materials. So we have our door frame, but we don't have our normal map or our ambient occlusion in the material yet, so let's do that now. So I'm going to import the textures we saved out from null. So our normal map and our ambient occlusion map are the two that we want to bring in. Now we can open up the material for the door. Again, we're just going to Control C and Control V 2 times to bring in 2 more texture samples. We're going to select the normal map for the door, select our texture sample and say use current texture, select the ambient occlusion, texture sample, use current texture, and we're going to pipe the normal into the normal and the ambient occlusion into the ambient occlusion. Save our file. Wait for Unreal to compile it. Okay. Now we can jump back into our object here. And we have our door frame. Let's bring in the actual door itself now. So again, we're going to import. Inside door is what we want. And that all looks okay. Again, we'll just give Unreal a minute to compile the textures, the materials. Alright, let's start by fixing our material for the door handle. Again, we're going to copy and paste twice for the texture sample. Again, we're going to, I'm just going to save that. We're going to import the ambient occlusion, roughness and metallic for the door handle. Use current texture. Don't actually know if I'll use the normal for this. It's polished steel. It's not really going to have much of a bump to it anyway. The normal map looks a bit wrong there. Let's start by just piping in our ambient occlusion and our roughness and metallic. So the red channel goes to our ambient occlusion, the green channel goes to our the green channel goes to our roughness, and the blue channel goes to our metallic. Okay, let's save that. And now for the actual door itself, we have to fix that material as well. The same. Actually, instead of actually using the second material that Unreal created automatically when we imported our door, we already have a material created for the door that we can use. So we're going to, and that's the one that we created for the door frame. We don't have to remake the same material again because we already have the material here that it's part of the door frame. So we can select our door and just drag our door frame material, which is, I think it's this one. Yep. We can just drag that on top of our material slot here for the door. Did I pick the wrong one? So texture map. I'm just checking my materials here. I think the problem with us using the same material is the UV mapping for the door is different, so we may have to recreate that for the door. We can't reuse the one we used for the door frame, simply because the UV mapping is different on the door as opposed to the door frame, so that's okay. We can just create the material. We're still reusing the same texture map, so we're not adding to our texture memory. We're only adding a bit more to the memory by creating another material. Again, we're going to make sure we use our normal map and our ambient occlusion. We'll pipe those in. Save our texture. And open up our door. Looking at my door handle there, it's looking a little dark. I'm just going to jump up. I'm going to save all here in Unreal, and I'm going to jump back into Substance Painter really quickly. The reason our handle looks like this here in Substance Painter and looks a lot darker in the Unreal Engine, I think has to do with our reflection map. It's using a default HDR reflection map in Substance, which is giving us a nice shiny look. We don't have that look in Unreal at the moment because there is no reflection map happening on that handle. We will add one when we actually place this door inside the level. We'll add a reflection map object over the door handle to give it reflection then, which will lighten it up. So we won't worry about that for the moment until we get it into the actual level. Because we'll find that when we actually add a reflection object to the handle, it should start reflecting properly. I'm going to save that. Close that. Now let's put our door together, and let's put it together so the same way we did with the railing here, as a blueprint, so that we can just get out of the way. We create a blueprint made up of different parts of the model, and that way it's easy for us to drag into our level to make our object. We'll do the same thing here with the door. So we're going to drag in the door frame. And we're going to drag in the door. I'm just going to position them now. I'm going to jump out of orthographic here into my top, side and front views. Go full screen on the top view. Back to our orthographic view. Okay. So I may have to come up just a little bit. Deselect everything. So now we have our door frame ready to go to be placed in the level, but it's two separate objects. So we're going to select each object just by holding the control key, and we're going to go up to our blueprint, not build, blueprint. We're going to convert selected components to a blueprint class. We have to tell tell the engine where we want to put it. We want to put it in a blueprint folder. And we're going to be calling this one side door. Side door underscore prefab. So we know it's a prefab object that's made up of more than one object. And you see here what it's done is it's created a prefab that we can just drag into our level of both of those objects together. We can still select them individually to open and close the door if we want to. It just makes placing stuff a lot easier. So you make a blueprint based on multiple objects. And so we have our door now in our level, ready to go for when we want to place it in the level when we start rebuilding the Art Deco building. Again, I don't know if you can actually see it here. Maybe if I drag this up a bit. You can see we have our blueprint created for the door, and we've got the one created for the railing, the square railing. Okay. Let's save all of our project. So today we got the light fitting done. Again, it's made up of actual geometry, and that will help to add interest when we put an actual light source. Throwing light along actual geometry will always look much nicer than trying to fake it with a normal map. And like I said, we can afford to up the poly count a little bit because we're working with graphics cards and consoles that are much higher powered now. You want me to take a look at something else, John? Okay, I'll do it quickly because I'm just about to finish the stream. And what are we looking at here, John? Oh, okay, you're texturing him up. Cool. It's a very bright green. But he's a demon, so that's cool. Very nice. You're getting your texturing work done very quickly. Again, though, John, with any of the, I don't know, that's a skin color, I'm assuming. Add a little bit of variety, a little bit of, don't have it all in one color. I don't know, it's hard for me to tell again because it's not being lit outside of ZBrush's default lighting. And it does look like there's a darker color green and a lighter color green, but that could be shadowing that's happening. Scales, yep, I assumed it was scales, that's cool. But even with scales, try not to have a uniform green color, try to add a bit of, the same thing we did with that door handle. You know how we threw that dirt texture over it to vary up the color a bit? Try and do the same thing with the scales. So not every scale is the same color green, there's a bit of variety in blotches here and there, a darker color green or a lighter color green, you know what I mean? Subtle though, subtle, really subtle. Yep, cool, you understand what I mean. Make it subtle. I'm not saying go really, don't contrast the greens too much, just subtle contrast of darker green to a lighter green here and there. It'll just help to make the scales look more believable because not every scale on any animal is going to be exactly the same color. And instead of going through and trying to color every scale uniquely, you don't need to do that. You just need to add a bit of variation here and there over the overall color. But it's looking very nice. Very cool. Again, it's such a freaky object. Thanks for posting the updated work though. You get, like I said, you're getting your texturing done very quickly. It's looking good. Very good. So nice work. Alright, so we got our light fitting done and we got our door done. We will finish it there, I think, for today, guys. I will be back on again tomorrow and we'll continue doing some more of our asset work and bringing them into the Unreal Engine for our Art Deco building, interior and exterior. I do want to thank you guys very much for hanging out with me and for watching. I want to thank John as well for popping into chat and sharing his work with us. And also Roy and The Awesome for popping in and saying hello. Remember guys, I stream every Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific time in the United States. That never changes. I'm always on at 5 p.m. Pacific time in the US. It'll change for wherever else you are in the world, but if you're not sure, you can always go to my website and go to my social media link. And I have a little widget here that will tell you what the current Pacific time is. And whenever it reaches 5 p.m. on a Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday on my website here, that means I'm streaming. Also, if you just want to find out more about me and what I do, you can go to my website, phildoes3d.com, and that'll tell you a bit more about me. You're quite welcome, John. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you guys as much as I possibly can. Like I said, I'm not suggesting I know everything, but I've been in the industry for more than 10 years, so I picked up a thing here and there. And I'm more than happy to help you guys because I want to encourage you guys to do 3D. So please feel free, guys, to show me any of your work, to pop into chat, ask me questions. That's what I'm here for. I'm not here just to work on my own stuff. I'm here for you guys to help you as much as I can and to encourage you guys to do 3D. Having said that, I will be back on again tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific time. If you're not sure when I'm live, you can also keep an eye on my Twitter page at phildoes3d because I always post 15 minutes before I'm about to go live to my Twitter page. I will be back on again tomorrow, like I said, at 5 p.m. Again, thank you guys for hanging out and for watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow. See you guys.